Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Here we go, OverDrive off and running, TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN, up on YouTube Live, later tonight streaming on Crave, Brian Hayes, O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on today?
How are we feeling this afternoon?
Well, I don't know what happened when I was playing reporter down at our soccer fest, but Hazy, did you say the Knicks were going to get it done?
I believe the Knicks would win the series. I wasn't sure they were going to win Game 5.
Yeah, but I think I asked you guys in my reporter voice, like, what were we going to be talking about on Monday?
Right.
I think Noodles was talking about potentially a Game 7.
Yeah.
None of it happened. None of it happened. They're all over. And I got to tell you guys, I did a quick little TV guide for later. Tough sledding.
Well,
tough sledding.
Yeah, the Jays
Hazy, you talk a lot about like favorite times in sports. This is not one of my faves. The NHL's over, the NBA's over. There's like a lull for me here. It gets tough, especially when the Jays are doing what the Jays are doing.
Jays are underperforming. They're off today. They're in Boston starting tomorrow. We got the World Cup, right? I thought Canada would win. They got a draw. Shout out to Kyle Aaron coming off the bench. That was big.
Were you happy about that, though, or not?
I'll take it. It's better than a loss.
Well, I
thought they played good. I thought they were dominant. Like, I thought they controlled the play. They had a zillion corner kicks, and I would love to ask Stevie Caldwell, do they not have a guy that can kick it left-handed from the other side? It was driving me nuts seeing the righty kick it over there. Like, you want a lefty zinging that thing in there, and it wasn't happening. Anyway, they got a draw.
Yeah, set pieces were a bit of an issue for them, but they got a draw, and now, again, Switzerland and Qatar also drew. So now, basically, it's on. You got a 2-game group stage, and the first match is kind of out of the way, and no one really took the pace car position. But we are, you got live from the U.S. Open all week. That's big. You got the U.S. Open. You got the World Cup. There's crazy things going on. Cape Verde tied Spain today.
Yeah.
I got to plead ignorance. I had never heard of this country before. When they tied Spain, I'm like, all right, I got to do a little Google search.
Nobody's heard of these half of these
half the countries. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? There's about 500,000 people, a bunch of islands just off the coast of Africa. Shout out to them, I guess.
Dude, Germany beat a country that had 150,000 total.
Yeah. And smoked them.
And they were all horny that they scored a goal. People were crying.
Yes.
And then the Germans dropped a 7 spot on them.
Right.
That was Canada a while ago. Not anymore. The expectations are a lot higher.
That's right.
That's why. I mean, I thought they deserved to win. I mean, they had the one crossbar was outrageous. They get it by the goalie, it hits the defender, his foot hits the crossbar, stays out. I mean, they deserve to win that, but they still got a good chance.
Take a draw, you move on. You got Qatar on Thursday. Switzerland and Bosnia are going to play prior to that match, so you're going to kind of know where things stand before it even starts. And that's the beauty of the tournament. They could finish first in their group. They could finish fourth. Everything's up for grabs, and the pressure is certainly not going to subside. But they're out of here in Toronto. It's kind of wild. Like it's like the biggest band in the world played one night. Like they had this big world tour, and they're
Dude, I thought it was more than that. I obviously didn't pay attention enough, but with all the work on the Gardner and everything, I'm like, we're at least getting a couple of games here. It was one and done.
In Vancouver. Yeah. They're gone now. Now, there will be other matches played at Toronto Stadium, but they're not going to feature Canada, and we'll see what the crowds look like, and we'll see what the march to the match looks like, and if King West, do we as a city kind of say, hey, you can't really do that anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Canada's not playing. We have an infrastructure here.
Parking tickets are going to be handed out.
Right, exactly. If it's another country, you kind of can't do that anymore. We were cool with it for a day. But I thought the city of Toronto did a great job. Everyone got everything off the ground, and the crowd was phenomenal. The weather was beautiful. When Larin scored, it felt like you could hear that from Windsor to Ottawa, basically. I'm sure throughout the country people were going nuts. So we'll see. We got some time until we get to that next match on Thursday. Ernie Clement coming up at 5:30, so we'll catch up with Ernie on an off day in Boston. They lost 2-3.
Whose buddy is it?
That's
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say because I have private
who
confidence.
are you closer to?
I'm not going to talk about private conversations I have with Ernie. Hayes does what he does. I know he got blown off a few times by Ernie. I'm not commenting.
Well, he was my partner. Now, we did not win the Lincoln Cup, so I don't know if Ernie has much time for me. I don't know if he's going to, leave me in the dust, so
Call
to
you
speak.
Ryan Hayes,
Right.
I doubt it. But I mean, I'm not going to ask that. I'm not going to put him in a bad spot either. But it would be nice to know if he likes Brian more than or
probably
that type of
Duffy's
stuff.
his favorite guy.
That's fair.
Duffy's
Probably
right
Duffy.
in there with everyone and working different angles. So we'll see. We'll catch up with Ernie, who's doing a great job. Like individually, he's been outstanding.
Yeah.
He's chasing down an all-star bid. He's leading the American League for votes by like a significant margin for that second base spot. So that'll be a big feather in his cap. We'll catch up with Ernie, get his take on that. They lost 2 of 3 against New York. They got to get going, man. I know we keep saying that. And Ray will join us, Ray Ferraro, who's in Vancouver now. And we'll get a kind of vibe check on the Canadian team out there and the World Cup starting out there and what he thinks is going to happen. And obviously we'll pick his brain on the Carolina Hurricanes. Shout out to Carolina.
Alumni coat for O? Or what? I thought you were going to be wearing your alumni coat.
That would
today.
be nice.
Does he get a ring?
All I gotta say, I was thinking about it today, and just like in sports, like kind of small things turn into massive things. And I was going back to Carolina, and Keith Primo was in a contract squabble, and I think it got to the point where Preems, I think he said, look, if we're not going to do it for this money, then I want out. Or Carolina said, I don't know which way it went, but they said, this is our number, and if you don't want it, then we're probably going to move you. Either way, they agreed to move Preems to the Philadelphia Flyers, and guess what happened? In comes Rod Brindamore. And for the last 30 years or 25 years or whatever, 24 years, Rod Brindamore has been in Carolina, and what an impact this guy has had on the organization. Won a cup as a player, has been a coach there for a long time, now the head coach. And it's like I've been telling you guys, I know the GM and all the stats people are going like it's going to be flooded in the National Hockey League. You just watch. Every guy with a gray hair and a boiler and a fat ass, you're going to get fired because a nerd's going to get hired. You watch, it's coming. But look at the impact that this guy, and I text him and Mike Sunheim from the Carolina Hurricanes, and I said I couldn't be happy for you guys. They're just good people. And you just look how the organization is put together. It's kind of like a mom and pop organization where it's like not they don't have a chief of staff and all this other nonsense. They just have the best people doing the best things.
Well,
and good on them because it's impressive, man.
I was happy for them because you're right. Like they don't like that. This was the most chilling video for me. This guy is in better shape than anybody on the team.
Yeah.
This is
Look at this guy.
insane.
Like, legitimately, how many guys in the league, give me a percentage, could beat him in like a VO2 or like a test?
I don't think a lot, man.
5%, like the upper echelon, maybe, because he's
agree.
He's in that echelon. It is, I mean, he's intimidating to look at. Like that is, I loved the honest in interviews last night that Jordan Stahl had, that Taylor Hall had. Like those guys were literally, Jordan Stahl's actually made me well up a little bit. Like you could see he was like, I just wanted to win this. You could tell. Like I was so happy for them. Like, you know, there were so many great storylines within that, but unbelievable.
Oh, it was a great night. Like somehow you turn into a kid again watching them skate around, holding the cup, and like you can't. I was just found myself smiling like a goof.
Well, you realize like hard-working, like hard-nosed players like Seth Jarvis, like being around his family, and Jackson Blake being like these guys. The players themselves were like it's just like the commercial where everybody says, "I just don't know how to describe this." Like it's the child. Like they discovered their childhood dream when they say, I'm going to win the Stanley Cup, or they're playing road hockey, and they actually pulled it off.
Yeah,
like
they did.
they're almost kind of in awe. Like I don't even know what to do right now. And you could see, and I think the biggest thing is you talked about Jordan Staal, Jamie.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to win so bad, and if that didn't happen, that would have took a chunk out of that guy, a big time chunk. And I think with athletes and a lot of hockey players these days, I think when it doesn't happen, a lot of them, it just doesn't bother them. Like they just go home. But I think that group of guys they have down in Carolina, if they didn't get that done, it would have taken a massive chunk out of them, especially what they've been through. They've done a lot of winning in the playoffs, a lot of winning in the regular season, and they're going to do a lot of winning next year. Don't kid yourself. That Metro division, they're going to win that division for fun.
More than likely. Like you look at how proactive they've been with signing guys. They have Stankoven and Blake and Svechnikov and Aho and Ehlers. They got all these guys locked up
with
long
picks.
term.
With picks.
And they got Keandre Miller locked up, and they've got Slavins locked up, and Bussy they signed, and obviously that's going to look like a really good deal moving forward.
Wow.
So they're locked and loaded. And they deserved it. They went 16-3 throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, think about
it
that,
was
dude.
Unreal.
Absolutely dominant. They were the best team the whole playoffs. They were the best team, and they persevered in the end. The amazing thing is, like, they got challenged in almost every way, even being 16-3. Ottawa played them tough. They had to win overtime games. They won 1-0 games, 2-1 games. Those weren't blowouts.
No, it was not a joke.
Philly was a breeze, with all due respect. It was. Montreal wins game 1, then they had to win game 2 and 3 in overtime. Like, sure, you dominated and all that. It's irrelevant if you get a bad bounce going the other way twice.
Yeah.
They could have been easily down 3-0 in that series. And then Vegas is up 2-1 in this series, and they're down 4-0 in a game, and they just kept moving and moving and pushing and pushing. And by game 4, 5, and 6, they imposed their will on the series. Like they got back to proving that they were the best playoff team.
I agree, Hayes. And a couple things about that. I think it happens every year. The team that wins the Stanley Cup faces some adversity where if it goes the other way, they're going to get punted. You just mentioned the situation with Montreal. If those overtime losses go the other way, they're in big-time trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Like after game 1 against Vegas, I'm sure there were some players that thought, we got our damn hands full here. Like, we got our hands full here because it was like maybe they're too good and they're too big and this and that. So every team that wins, there's a couple situations throughout the playoffs. And Carolina didn't deal with it a ton. But when they're looking in the mirror and if we don't get this done tonight, it could be game over. And I told you guys one thing about the series is one of the goaltenders is going to turn into a pumpkin. And ultimately, both of them did. The other one guy got pulled or hurt, whatever the hell happened to him, I do not know. And the other guy was letting in 4 a night. And Roddy Brind'Amour said, you know what? You're not going back in the net, and the other guy is. And I don't know if that was the goaltender saying, I'm hurt, I can't go back in. But he said we're going with Bussy, and that was and I don't know how. Big turning point, because if I'm John Tortorella, just for momentum's sake only, after game 3, after 3 games in a row, you let in 4 goals for a different vibe and a different look. I would have said we got to go to the other guy, but he decided not to do it, and I think it was costly.
I don't think that would have been the difference, though. I think Carolina was just too good. When you look at him systematically, like last night, I thought Carter Hart, yes, the game-winning goal, which is Taylor Hall's, you got to make that save. Mm-hmm. But I thought he was great yesterday.
Yeah, he made some great
saves.
But
you know what? I give Carolina, and I was asked this question. I'll ask you guys this: if it's a copycat league, what do you take from Carolina? System, culture, balanced attack.
Jamie,
like,
good luck replicating
that's
that.
what I'm saying. We say it all the time, but I'm asking you. Like it's not something you can just go.
No, you
okay,
can't.
give me Rod Brind'Amour and he can change the culture in my organization.
Right.
Like that's we always talk about it. Like, what would you take from Carolina's, organization, win,
I guess
whatever,
what I would
for
take,
copycat?
I would be true to your identity, and their identity was and has been: we're a small market team. We're not gonna blitz you with money and pizzazz, and we're not gonna market ourselves as, hey, we want to chase down Toronto and New York and Boston and all these big hockey markets. They're not a cap team. They've got a coach and a captain that are very similar people and have linked up for years, because Rod Brind'Amour's been the head coach for 8 years, and he was an assistant for 4 or 5 prior to that.
Yeah.
Jordan Stahl's been there for 17 years. Basically, Stahl and Brindamore have been on the same page for a decade, and yet they have looked at it like, okay, if we can't convince the Rantanens or the Marners or the Quinn Hugheses or the Jake Gensels to come here, we're not going to just play victim and say, we can't do it. Exactly. Fine, don't come. No problem. We'll go get Stankoven and Ehlers and Hall, and we'll claim Bussey off the waivers. And that's, I think, that's what I would take out of it, is just be true to your identity. That's who you are.
For everybody, Brian, that was saying, what is Mikko Rantanen thinking right now? Or what is Mitch Marner thinking, kind of vetoing a trade? I don't know if Mikko Rantanen, with like an up-tempo skating style, I don't know if he exactly flourishes in that system. And I don't know if that team is the same. I'm telling you, like that kid Stankoven, he was incredible in the playoffs, and he fit into the system. And I got to be honest with you, as good a player as Mikko Rantanen is, I don't know if he would have flourished with all that skating and all that pressure. He's a big horse, and he does things differently. It was almost like everything came together, and you're right, they stayed true to themselves. Mikko Rantanen, you don't want to be here. And Joe from the Bridge, by the way, broke that news to us. As soon as the day he got traded, he said, watch out, he might get flipped in Carolina. And I remember saying in the group chat, please stop doing drugs, Joe from the Bridge. They're not flipping Mikko Rantanen. And sure enough, they said, you know what? You don't want to sign here? Screw you. You're out.
And that comes back to the point of, like, you got to have confidence in who you are. And you make mistakes. It wasn't even a mistake. They gave it a shot. You know, Rantanen's a great, great player. He's a superstar in the league. They gave it a shot. They realized quickly, 2-3 weeks in, not going to work. So they had an option. Do we act proud and just say, screw it, we're going to try to keep him, and if he walks, we'll blame him and say, well, this guy and that guy, and he couldn't handle it? Or do you just acknowledge this isn't going to work and say, we got to get Stankoven, which they did. We're going to get Ehlers. Ehlers wouldn't be there, I don't think, if they signed Rantanen. Right? If Rantanen's taking $13 million, I don't think they have money for Ehlers. So Ehlers is there because of it. I'm not sure Taylor Hall's there if Rantanen's there. They flipped that pick that they got, I believe, as part of the package for Condre Miller. There was a whole life form that came out of that Rantanen decision, and they had the stones to try it, but even more so impressively in terms of an organization and a front office, the ability to say, it's not going to work. And the whole world's looking at you and saying, oh, what are you going to do? You guys stink. The guy doesn't want to be there. They didn't let it stop them from improving, Noodles. It's a
great point,
really
Brian.
smart transaction.
And you know what it says to me is that you have to have stones to make moves. Both of these organizations that were in the finals took big swings. It happens. Vegas loses. Carolina deserved to win. They were awesome and really likable team. Happy for Rod. They're you even look at it. Like Tulsky and Tyler Dello, who worked at TSN with us a little bit at the trade deadline and all that, unassuming. They weren't out there front and center grabbing the cup and all of that. They just let the team. You could see the organization's pretty tight-knit. I do have a question. Where the hell was the cup? Why did it take so long to hand all of it?
It did take a long time to
They
get
were
out
like
there.
Celebrating, going around and all that. And I kept thinking to myself, is Philip Pritchard asleep by the pool? You remember in Chicago, the cup was late and all that?
Right.
I kept thinking, why is this taking so long?
I thought the same thing, Noodles.
The
even to get to the Conn
filling.
Smythe was a while.
I know. It was almost like something's gone wrong for the process for this to happen. Maybe I'm wrong, but I was, the broadcast
was longer than usual. It was
so too.
100% longer than usual. I don't know if that, maybe someone in Vegas tried to grab the thing and run. That's possible. It is Vegas.
Yeah.
Maybe who knows what the hell happened down there. But it did seem to take a long time.
Yeah.
But, in the end, there was a couple things that I kind of took out of the whole experience of the series. We've talked a lot about how, Austin Matthews is looking at things, how Connor McDavid is looking at things, how Brady Tkachuk is looking at things, and I think naturally you said, I wonder how they look at Mitch Marner. I wonder how they look at, maybe Nick Ehlers if you're Scheifele and Hellebuck or whatever in Winnipeg, and say, you know what, that seems enticing, and I'm sure it would be. But I'm sure you guys caught Jordan Stahl. He was on the ice talking with Kyle Bukauskas after the game.
Yes.
And he said, and Kyle asked him, like, hey, you were here a long time. You never decided to leave. You never chased it anywhere else. And he basically said, yes, some guys jump ship, but
I know that comment caught your attention.
it caught my attention because, and again, that's not, he wasn't saying that to Mitch Marner. He doesn't care about Mitch Marner. Mitch has never been his teammate. He's not from Toronto. Mitch went to Vegas. I don't even know if he meant anyone in particular with that comment. But what I would like to believe, because you referenced, what Jordan was kind of showing emotionally after the game.
Yeah, it was very emotional, yeah.
And he said, the journey was amazing, and I put faith in this team, and I wanted to do it for this team and for the fan base. And he basically said, it means more because I've invested more, as opposed to jumping. And again, there's been a lot of players in sports history that have done it. And if you're a free agent, so be it. If you get traded, it's totally different. Obviously, if you got traded, that's not your doing. You got traded. But I'd like to believe, after spending 2 months saying, man, I wonder if Matthews thinks that's the route, or McDavid thinks maybe that's the route. Yeah. Listen to the guy who won in the end. It's way more valuable if you stick it out and finish the job. Now, there's no guarantees you can. There's no guarantees you will. But there's more value in it. Yeah. It means more. It 100%.
Well, what would you say to a guy like Dylan Larkin, who apparently has just lost faith in the process? Like, would you say to Dylan Larkin, like, as I mentioned, Brian, because there's an argument to every side of it. Mm-hmm. He had faith in Carolina, and I'm sure when he got there was some lean years where they weren't that good, and he probably thought, like, come in here, play with my brother, that's great, but now we kind of stink. And then all of a sudden, Aho came in, and the team turned around, and they became good, and they started winning a bunch. Yep. But on the other side, Dylan Larkin's got to be thinking, my team can't even get in the playoffs.
Understandably.
So how much more difficult would it be for a guy like Dylan Larkin? Yeah. And you could toss Austin Matthews into the equation.
Well, he's been in the playoffs 9 straight years prior to this year. I get it. And McDavid's been to 2 Cup finals.
I get it. But for Austin Matthews, he missed the playoffs, and they've only won 2 rounds the whole time. Mm-hmm. So is he supposed to look at it and say, I just got to keep – you would like to think that he would say –
That's what I'm saying. I'm not
it here. Yeah.
I'm not predicting.
It's all about investing and enjoying, like just saying, I love being a Leaf. And you could tell, like Jordan Stahl, he trusts the owner, he trusts management, and he loves it there. And he's like, I'm making it work here no matter what. Well, yes. And that's what you would like to see from your leader. I think that's what you're trying to say.
That's what I'm getting at. And obviously, Larkin is different from McDavid, who's different from Matthews, who's different from Brady Tkachuk, who's different from Scheifele and Hellebuck, whoever else you want to use in the league. But, Carolina, they kept knocking on the door and it was like, you're not going to do it. You're not going to be good enough. You literally never win games, even in the conference final. And he just said, I'm not doing it. I'm not jumping. I'm going to stay and commit. Now, he also had a ring in 2009 that helps, right? He won in Pittsburgh, right? Yeah. That helps. Once you get that ring first, it probably changes your view of things. But the reason I bring that up, Noodles, is, again, it was so much focus. Ehlers went, that makes sense. Marner goes, wow, there's also another route that I think actually has more value if you can stomach it.
So true. And that the one thing that was pointed out today from a lot of people that I was talking to is, so then it's the Washington route. Took Ovi a long time to get there, right? Like, and this is the one thing that you bring back. If you think your team's good, and whether you just talked about, whether it's Winnipeg, Edmonton, Toronto, you name it, all these players, Ottawa, there's lean years. And maybe it's a sign for some of these teams that felt, okay, we're a good team. We don't have to blow things up. We do need to go at it again and add, try different ways to push through. And it's the Carolina model. This was a team that, for fun, was in the conference final, it seemed like every year. Mm-hmm. And then they would crash and burn. And you're going, like, how many times, if we were OverDrive Carolina and they did that every year, we would be going, can't do it. You gotta trade X, Y, and Z. You gotta do this because you don't have this. You don't have the leadership. We would probably be calling out, as a fan base would, we'd be going, they haven't gotten to that next level.
Jamie, there's always big differences. Like we talked about Carolina, when Roddy touched on it last night when he said, you know what, we added Ehlers. He can score a goal at any time. We brought in Keandre Miller. He's a big monster back there. When we're talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we had Brucey Boudreau on, and we were kind of roundtabling it, we all agreed that their roster needs 6 to 8 different players. So we're talking about a big difference. We're not talking about tinkering, adding a guy here or there. We're talking about a massive overhaul to even be competitive to get into the playoffs. But you would think when you're talking about the star player jumping or staying or whatever, you would think the best player would always have confidence, whether it be Matthews, McDavid, Jordan Staal. I believe in this team, number one, because I'm here.
Right, I'm going to be able to lead it.
But
and I will
what do
set
you
the
think
tone.
Connor McDavid thinks when the GM goes out and gets Tristan Jarry to be their goaltender and signs Jake Wallman to that contract? The roster wasn't good enough, so McDavid's going to be like, I got confidence in myself. I believe we can win if I'm here. But if my GM's pulling these bonehead moves and not putting a surrounding cast beside me that can win, how could I feel that confidence that this team's going to win because I'm here?
I think you're right, but I look at the one thing that each team, if I come back and I want to copy Carolina, I have a coach that is airtight. That's one thing that Carolina won the cup because everybody played that system to a T. To a T. If you're Vegas or whoever was trying to break through offensively, you couldn't. And when you did, Bussy made a couple really good saves, timely saves. And regardless if it was Freddie or Bussy or whatever, they were not threatening at all. I did not feel like Carolina was ever under the gun giving up 25 high-danger chances a night in that. To me, that's a systematic thing. That's coaching and discipline for that roster set in place.
I agree.
So if I was going to copy one thing of Carolina, your coaching better be airtight, and you've got to have guys that buy in. That would be the only thing.
And that's why, again, now you need the best players to buy in. Everyone says it.
Exactly.
I watched a clip of Scotty Bowman over the weekend where he's like, the best teams, it's player-driven. Your 4 or 5 core guys are going to kind of determine the way everything works. And that happens with Stahl. It happens with Slavin.
Right.
And I think it trickles down to Aho and Svechnikov, et cetera. But when you have that, when you have a coach that not only demands it but can execute it and can communicate it properly, all of a sudden, you put Taylor Hall in a different spot. Like, he can't play that way. Well, he can in Carolina.
Yeah.
Gostisbehere, that guy can't do that. Well, he can in Carolina. Condre Miller, what was the rep? Not a smart enough player, makes too many mistakes in New York, get him out of here. All of a sudden, he's not doing it. And that's the whole point. And that's where, again, from a Leafs standpoint, if they get a good coach, the right coach, that can change a lot.
Sure.
Does it change your roster? No. But can it change the expectation of a roster? Absolutely. So they've got to hammer that. They've got to nail that. So does Edmonton.
Yeah.
They have to nail that.
Look at the other guys they brought in, like Taylor Hall. Even Roddy said it on our show. He was like, when we acquired him, we were like, what are we going to get here?
Yeah.
And they basically explained to Taylor Hall, like, you're ultra skilled, you've been around a while, you've won a Hart Trophy, but this is how we're going to play, and if you don't like it, it's Roddy's way or the highway.
Exactly.
He even told us years before. Yeah, he even told us years before. I said, what do you get if you get some, I don't know what word I use. He goes, Jeff, they just don't last. They don't last long.
Well,
They're
Rantanen
gone.
was kind of that. Not that he's a stiff, but
he was awful
way.
when he got there, and he showed Roddy right away that he didn't want to be there. Because if you watch the games he played for Carolina, he was garbage, and he had a pout on, and he was moping around the ice. And I would bet money that Roddy said, "Don't even think about trying to convince this guy. Just please get him out of this locker room."
Yeah,
and that's exactly what you're bringing up, and that was my point. Eric Tulsky and you can tell Roddy have a bond there where Tulsky will put people into his system that works. And, hey, let's try Taylor Hall. Well, Taylor Hall can skate still. And that's the one thing. If you look at all their players, it's one consistent thing. They all have pace. And I think that's where maybe Rantanen couldn't play that style of game because he was more bigger, kind of in that 10-foot radius. That's the one thing. Your GM has to put in place players that can be coached by that particular coach that goes, this is how we play. We're playing up-tempo. We're going to play this style. I just
– And then the players got to buy in, though, too,
exactly,
right? The players, and that's what happened down there. All right, Ray Ferraro coming up, Ernie Clement in an hour. It's U.S. Open week. Shout out to Bud Colley. We'll get into that. It's a big win yesterday at the RBC Canadian Open. And we'll get into the Mitch Marner conversation. What changed, if anything at all? OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Qatar on TSN, CTV, and Crave.
Lock in right here all season long.
This is the moment.
On TSN 1050, FIFA World Cup 2026 coverage continues as Iraq takes on Norway and Messi's Argentina takes on Algeria.
It all starts at 6 p.m.
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
I gotta say, boys, one of the things that I thought was a little bit cheesy was the Knicks win, and Josh Hart went on Twitter and said, "Time to golf. What club should I join in New York?" Like he was kind of fishing for a free membership. I'm like, free meals is one thing for the rest of your life in New York, or you know the cliches that go along with winning. That guy will never pay for a beer. What do you think? Wingfoot's going to call you up and say you want to tee it the rest of your life for free? You went too damn far.
That seems like one of our moves. I mean, who are you kidding?
What
Like,
are you
wouldn't tweet
about?
that out immediately.
Yes.
Dude, I go and if I got to pay for a one-time deal, this guy's looking for a membership.
I know.
They
that is
won,
extreme.
though.
But
They
why not?
won. Exactly.
Throw it out. Throw the line out. See what you catch.
Where's
I want to, Doogie, I want you to find out if this guy gets a golf membership because he won a world championship.
Well, and he's also, let's clarify, he is talking Winged Foot, the National Golf Links of America, Shinnecock.
Liberty National.
Yeah, he's not talking some dog track in Queens calling him up saying we're happy to have you.
I just want to catch up with OG.
How about Ananobi on Good Morning America?
Why is he on a morning show? Like, it is the greatest clip. I watched that 100 times.
We got to
today.
play it. Let's play this because they're all in there. Cat's in there. Brunson's
Dude, I
in there.
blame the PR person. I blame the PR person.
I
Vegas
think it's
for
great
not...
PR. I don't think it's bad PR. It's the Knicks won. They're on a heater. They're
I know, but
partying.
if somebody's gooned up like that, anyway, play the clip.
All right, this is Good Morning America with the Knicks. I think the starting five sit down with the whole crew.
Talk about the difference Coach Brown made and how he brought you all together.
I guess I'll answer. He's been great. Mike's been great, and what he's been awesome at doing this too is listening to us and just hearing us out.
So Ananobi had been addressed there to answer the question, and he was just out of it. Like,
dude, he was. What is our baby monkey? He was like gonzo, man.
That's Weekend at Bernie's. They hauled him in like in a Hannibal Lecter suit and put him down there. Like that was, but so be it. Good on him. Good on them. It was amazing, and he was unreal in the finals.
The scenes in New York are
Holy
just
smokes.
crazy. Like it doesn't look real. It looked like AI on Saturday night.
Crazy.
How
stuff.
many people were in the streets? And what I had an appreciation for too was they got out of San Antonio. Now San Antonio's San Antonio, but they're like, we're getting back to New York like immediately. Where I remember the Raptors won, they're like, we're going to go through Vegas and then we'll be home at some point. Like, that's not how you, in my opinion, show your gratitude to the city. Like, you get home and you party, as quickly as you can. If it's you got to stay the night somewhere, go for it. But to detour through Vegas is a wild play. But the Knicks, they got home, 53-year drought. And, listen, you look at they hired Leon Rose to run the whole operation. The theme of the weekend, both teams, Carolina and New York, went 16-3. Absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominant. The Knicks, they signed Brunson, which fell in their lap, right? Dallas, another historical fumble. The Mavs drafted Luka and Brunson in the same draft. And Luka's in L.A. and Brunson's in New York.
Brunson was always playing behind him, so they were like...
Of course. And understandably, he was looking for more opportunity. But the Knicks sign him. The Knicks trade for Cat. They trade for Hart. They trade for Bridges. They trade for Ananobi.
I know.
They fire a coach and bring in Mike Brown.
I thought about their roster, and I was like, I've always said the National Hockey League, like, and I said it about the Leafs when they were trying to win, when they got their goalie from somewhere else, they got Dion from somewhere else, they got Phil from somewhere else, they got Lupul from somewhere else, and JVR from somewhere. And I'm like, you can't. But basketball, I guess you can get 5 guys from other places and make it work. In hockey, I don't know. Like, you have to have some kind of organizational foundation of, like, drafting players. Like, in Carolina, they drafted Aho, I guess. Like, who else would there be?
Svechnikov they drafted.
Yeah.
Slavin's been a lifelong Carolina
Jarvis.
Hurricane.
Yeah, I guess.
Jarvis, yeah.
You know, but if you're just going to – you can't put all the pieces – but Carolina did a pretty damn good job of getting people from other places to make it work.
Yeah, you need a combination, like deeper.
You need
roster
all
in hockey.
facets in hockey. You need to draft guys if you've got a first-round pick, and it's got to turn into an Aho or a Jarvis. And I think both situations you can say this about it. There's always a situation where a guy's in on another team, like a Taylor Hall or a Brunson, where you say, we've got to make this work because we think it can be great for our team. And you've got to have people that you got to know your roster the best of any, but you also got to know the league to say that guy can come in here and make it work because we don't think he's getting a good enough opportunity.
Well, and I think Leaf fans, there's always been a link with the Knicks because there's been such a connection. There's so many similarities in terms of the size of the market and the importance of the team and the sport to that market. 53 years without a win. The Leafs are pushing up on 60. And listen, it's loud. There's a lot of pressure. Media's crazy. Knick fans are nuts, crazy, and jumping all over the place. They love you when you're up. They hate you when you're down. They make no apologies for it. And yet, if you have competent management, coaching, star players that can step up in the moment. Doesn't matter if you're in the biggest market or the smallest market. Like New York and Raleigh are the complete opposite of each other. The complete opposite of each other. New York City, New York, Raleigh, North Carolina. And they were built differently. They came about it differently. They have different fans and media and expectations, blah, blah, blah. But it really, once the ball gets tipped up or the puck gets dropped, doesn't matter if some fans are yelling on Twitter or whatever. It's all about performing. And credit to the Knicks for not allowing themselves to fall victim to 53 years, right? They didn't sit there and say, no one can do it here. They said, no, we can do it, and we're going to do it, and watch. And they took full advantage. And it was a remarkable run.
Stood out for me. Your boy James Dolan was right in the middle of everything.
Right in the middle. Trying to win back favor, right?
Yeah.
Of Knick fans who have really hated him for a long time.
And secondly, was Charles Oakley, like I saw him there.
He was in San Antonio. It wasn't at the Garden, right? Game 5 was was down in San Antonio.
I know. I saw him there, but I'm wondering, would he be back?
No.
Would they bring him back for
there was heavy
so.
hitters that tried to intervene, like Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley, tried to get Dolan to kind of say, let's fix this, and it's not fixable.
And Dolan said no? Did Oakley say no? That's
Dolan.
the thing.
Dolan had him tossed and said, you're not coming back. And I don't know if Oakley's dying to sit down with James Dolan either.
Yeah.
But, maybe bygones will be bygones here now that the Knicks have won. Everyone can breathe. And that parade's on Thursday. You get the U.S. Open on Long Island. You get the World Cup in town. Like New York is going to be crazy. All right, Ray Ferraro in 20 minutes, and we'll get into Mitch Marner and the way he played down the stretch, not speaking to the media last night, how his reputation has changed, if at all, over the last 2 months or 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, whatever you want to call it. OverDrive continues up on TSN 5.
Qatar on TSN, CTV, and Crave.
Thursday, Canada is back on TSN 1050. Canada takes on Qatar at BC Place, Vancouver in their second match at the FIFA World Cup 2026. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. The World Cup is it's electric. There's a lot of things going on. You see Tunisia got pumped by Sweden, and they fired their manager right after the game.
That's tough.
Guy
Is that
builds
when you
them.
tweeted out the picture of Torts?
That's what I was thinking. Get Torts in there.
By the way, Torts, you got to go get your luggage, man. You got to go get your luggage.
You left it in Carolina, right? You left your clothing there. You got to go get it now. But yeah, the Tunisia, like they got dummied. They got beat up by Sweden, and then the guy gets the pink slip right after the match. Like, that's bizarre.
That's
like
tough.
I get it. Your team didn't play well. You didn't get the result you want. I don't recall ever seeing a coach get fired at a major tournament.
Dude,
before.
I think Finland in the World Juniors, the coach of the Kitchener Rangers took over. The coach at the World Juniors got fired from Finland.
Seriously?
I
don't
think
remember that.
Doogie, look that up. I'm pretty sure it happened in the World Juniors. They fired their coach mid-tournament, and then UC took over, I think, because we were talking about it at the Memorial Cup.
Okay.
Something goofy like that happened.
Like if the coach gets up to, trouble, something happens, and you're like, hey, pal, you're out.
It was not that.
Like
it was
performance-based.
I think Finland stunk the joint out, and they fired their coach in the middle of the tournament.
That's wild to me.
It is a wild
It's
scene.
crazy to me.
I've heard of remember in the KHL, I heard a coach got fired after the second period, and the assistant coach took over, and then the coach the next day went to pick up his stuff, and the owner was so drunk he didn't remember that he fired him after the second period. So he didn't. It was Wayne. I think it was Wayne Fleming.
Was he back as the coach?
Wayne
Just
Fleming.
right back in there.
I believe Wayne. It happened to Wayne Fleming in Omsk.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to believe whoever's the head of the Tunisian football operation isn't buckled, and saying
Hey,
you're
you
fired.
never know, man. You never know.
I guess you never know. But I found that to be pretty fascinating.
Crazy, eh?
Like you're waiting for 4 years. You're winning. You qualify.
This is our guy. This is our guy.
We made it.
Yeah.
One game. See ya, pal. Pack your bags. You can fly back to Tunisia. You're not staying anymore.
Crazy.
So yeah, that was crazy. Clearly. But there's been a lot going on at the World Cup, and of course it continues on TSN, CTV, and Crave. Canada now out in Vancouver waiting for their next match against Qatar on Thursday. Shout out to Bud Cauley, winner, first time on tour he's ever won. And it was a crazy leaderboard. I was thinking, on Thursday, hey, this could be Koepka's, and then I was thinking maybe Fitzy, maybe Fleetwood. All of a sudden, it's Bud Cauley just like running away with it on the back nine. But a really cool story.
A great story.
Really cool story.
Yeah, like he was like a hot shot in college. Like that guy was the man at Alabama. And I believe he might have been teammates with Justin Thomas.
He was.
And that guy was the man. And then he goes through his pro journey and gets in this car accident at the Memorial that the guy almost lost his life. And that was well documented. And he comes back. And if it was going to be one of those like journeyman type of guys, it was a great story. I was talking to LA this morning. It was like, if there was to be a guy in that class, like he was the guy that would be a great winner, and he was. Like he got it done. He made some great shots. And Jim Nantz touched on it during the broadcast. When he chipped in on 12, you kind of knew something was up. And then he made that birdie on 13, which is a 520-yard par 4. And he caught a break. It just didn't get into the rough, and he hit like a butter 5 or 4 iron to 15 feet, and he made it. And it's like, this guy's going to win now.
Well, when he really was going to win it was when he blew one off the golf cart on 16 and it kicked back into the rough.
Is that what I was trying to wonder? Because I went to the bathroom and I came back and I'm like, how did his golf ball get there?
He hit that thing like halfway to Toronto. It was so far right. I was surprised he didn't hit a provisional. I guess it was a red stake. I don't know, because I was shocked he didn't hit a provisional. It was so far right. He gets up there. It went off a security's golf cart and back into the rough.
That's a favorable bounce.
Oh, dude. Like one of the craziest breaks ever. I believe that's what I was watching it, but because I was waiting for the replay. I'm like, how did his ball end up there?
Yeah.
He was shocked.
And that would have been a big turning point because he bogeyed 17. Like if he had he could have easily
doubled
started
16.
it
100%. More, exactly. Like if he couldn't find that ball. And
dude, if he kept that driver in his hands and kept digging in his golf bag and started swatting it around, who knows what he could have done in that hole.
It was one of the all-time great breaks because it was so far right. And he knew it off the tee, picked up his tee, couldn't even watch it. He was sick. He couldn't believe he hit that ball where he hit it. And he gets up there, and it's in the rough. And he just, jabs one up into the middle of the green, 2 putts for par, and leaves. So shout out to Bud Cauley. And now we move on to Shinnecock and the U.S. Open, and obviously we're going to have picks. We're going to have a lot of picks, and it's going to be a great field, needless to say. But as for the picks this past weekend, the OverDrive PJ Picks brought to you by TaylorMade. It's time to find a new fast with QI4D drivers. TaylorMade's fastest, most fittable drivers. Learn more at TaylorMadeGolf.ca/QI4D. None of us had Bud Cauley. I can't imagine any of us are going to take Bud next week. But Fitzy was picked. He was right there. Fleetwood was picked. He was right there. Wyndham Clark really faded yesterday.
How did you think your boy Ricky Hovland, after watching him kind of in the Pro-Am, I don't think his game was up to snuff, and this guy goes out there and just gets dialed in.
Yeah.
It was almost like, and you see it week in and week out, it's like the guys that are the best guys, they're better than everybody else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like
That's
they
him.
just
He's so good. And honestly, I played 9 holes with him. I was taken aback by some of the shots. He was kind of all over the place and rolling putts 12 feet past. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And he goes out and shoots 14 under and finishes
like
third
you watched
place.
him, you stood beside him and watched him. You must have said to yourself, not a chance in hell is this guy making the cut right now.
To put this into perspective, I didn't pick him in the TaylorMade picks. I didn't pick Hovland because I'm like, I don't think he's going to make the cut based on what I saw.
Wow.
And that's how good he is and how dialed in he's got. That's the first time ever. Whoever I play in the Pro-Am with, I automatically pick them. And I don't take Rick Hovland of all people, and the guy goes out there and performs. Speaking of TaylorMade, it sounds like Bryson's putting the new QI4D in his bag this week.
Why wouldn't he?
Some new prototype. And Bryson, that's a golf junkie club freak. If he's playing the QI4D, then that's basically all you need to know.
Get with it.
OverDrive PJ Picks brought to you by TaylorMade. It's time to find your new fast with QI4D drivers. TaylorMade's fastest, most fittable drivers. Learn more at TaylorMadeGolf.ca/QI4D. All right, Ray coming up, Ernie Clement coming up. We'll start at 5 on Mitch Marner. What we make of his Cup final, last night's game, post-game, the whole 9. We'll start the hour on Mitch. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Ernie Clement later in the hour. Ray Ferraro coming up here in a few moments. We're into the offseason in the NBA, into the offseason in the NHL. Shout out to the Carolina Hurricanes, New York Knicks, Bud Colley yesterday. And we've been waiting for this one, and I'm sure our audience has kind of been waiting for us to get into the Mitch Marner conversation that everybody has been having really for the last decade, maybe 10 years, certainly over the last 2 months. And I'll allow you guys to take the floor first. But as you look back on Mitch Marner, his run in the playoffs, his start to the Cup final, the end of the Cup final, how has your view of Mitch and the discussion surrounding him possibly changed?
I thought he was easily the best player in the entire playoffs. Hands down. And he did his thing. And if you look at one guy, and like we're the Toronto market, so we're hyper-focused on former Maple Leaf Mitch Marner. There's another guy that plays for Carolina. His name's Sebastian Aho. And let's be real about his play. He was a ghost for a lot of the playoffs. He was not a dominant player, but he had other lines, Taylor Hall's line, and different guys, Jordan Stahl stepping up, and they insulated him. And Mitch carried the mail for a long time. And if we're going to get hyper-focused on 4, 5, and 6, what did he do? It's a team. It's not all about Mitch Marner. He was desperately looking for a Barbashev, a Jack Eichel, other guys to step up and get it done, and they never did. And that's the end of the story. I will say one thing. When everybody's pumping your tires, and we talked about this with Brooks Koepka, you don't owe anybody anything. But when everyone's pumping your tires and you're happy to go out with the media, him and Jack Eichel are the two stars of the team, or two of them. You got to go out there and talk to people after and address it after the game. And neither of them did, which I think is ridiculous. But like Brooks Koepka said, you don't owe anybody everything. So he was the best player in the playoffs, and he couldn't have anybody step up, including the goaltender, Eichel, anybody else to bail him out, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I thought he played great, but in the last couple games, we were hyper-focused on, hey, he didn't get, -5, didn't get points, all of that type of stuff. The team didn't. They got shut out last night. Like, literally, Eichel hits the crossbar. I think Bussy made a good save in the first period that gets on the top of the net, drops down. Like, they had their chances. Stone had one on the back door. But at the end of the day, Carolina squeezed everybody, all top players. They were talking about Caulfield, in Montreal. All the top players got squeezed by Carolina. I didn't, full disclosure, I didn't know he didn't talk to the media until about an hour ago, or maybe just before, 2 hours ago. I didn't know that. I assumed he would have. I assumed media would have gone in there to talk to Vegas and to Carolina a lot of times. I don't know how they do it with the losers. I think McDavid, came out last year or whatever.
Stone
I'm not
spoke
sure.
Last night. A lot of guys spoke. Theodore
so I
spoke.
didn't know that, but, you always should. I think you should always, if with the good and the bad, you speak, even if you take 10, 20 minutes just to let the emotions get out of the way. But I didn't know, full disclosure, I didn't know that until a couple hours ago.
Yeah, regardless, he didn't. Eichel didn't. I'm not surprised by that. Ultimately, Mitch Marner did not change who he is because he went to Vegas, right? He was always very comfortable in the positive spotlight, very uncomfortable in the negative spotlight. It's no different in Vegas, right? It's no different. It was no different in Toronto. I'm not surprised at all he declined to come out or didn't, want to come out and speak because he knew it was coming. And I'm sure it was going to be uncomfortable for the first time as a Vegas Golden Knight. That's the truth. Last night would have been his first deja vu moment last night because everything else had been insulated, ultimately pretty positive, certainly throughout the playoffs. He was up there because he earned it. He earned the marquee. He earned to be the guy that got to puff his chest out and say, did you see what I just did? Because he was phenomenal against Utah, against Anaheim, against Colorado. For the first 3 games of the Cup final, he was brilliant. He had one of the truly great performances in Stanley Cup playoff history
En route
what
to
he
a
did.
slam dunk Conn Smythe.
Absolutely. But I think what ultimately ends up happening is whatever your viewpoint was before the playoffs started, you've probably just been emboldened in that view. What I mean by that is if you always believed it was the Leafs' fault or the media's fault in Toronto or the market in Toronto, then you feel emboldened because what you'll reference is Utah, Anaheim, Colorado, games 1 through 3. And you'll say, look at that. He's breathing easy. It was you that caused all the problems. If you always thought Mitch Marner isn't capable of stepping up in the biggest moments, you're emboldened. Because quite frankly, I thought he was okay in Game 4. I thought he was pretty good in Game 4. Game 5 and 6, he was invisible. Like the other guys. Just like it was in Toronto. It wasn't just him. Matthews was tough. Nylander would go south. Tavares would disappear. They all would. But so did Mitch. And when you get all the platform that he got, that he earned and deserved, you got to finish it off. And in Game 5 and 6, he didn't. He didn't play well.
Yeah.
Like he didn't break through.
Yes.
So, if you
and
thought...
it's the same scenario that two things can be true. He was the best player in all the playoffs. In Game 5 and 6, like the rest of his teammates, he wasn't worth
Folded. Exactly. Couldn't break through. Just like couldn't break through against Florida. Couldn't break through against Tampa, Boston, right? Like the best teams in the East for the last decade have been really tough to play against, and especially when they were smelling blood in the water. Here's a guy that was there throughout the Cup final. Here's our main man, Ray Ferraro from ESPN, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Ray, you can jump in on this chat with Mitch Marner, what you saw out of him up close and personal in the last couple months. How was your opinion or viewpoint of kind of the Mitch Marner legacy or reputation possibly adjusted over the last couple of months?
Well, I got to say, I'm shocked this was the first topic. Shocked. Unreal.
Yeah.
Now, I'm listening to you guys. Now, it is the finals, right? It is different than the first round. I would definitely think, in my opinion anyway, it looked a hell of a lot different than it did in Toronto in rounds 1 and 2. Like, you got to the final, and there, it's a big reason. He's a big reason why they got there. I don't know if everybody noticed, like Jack Eichel had 2 goals in the playoffs.
Is he hurt, Ray?
I don't know. I don't think so, but because I thought he skated pretty well. I mean, he did have some crappy luck, like he hit the crossbar a couple of times, and so that would have got him to 4 goals. But it didn't. Like, I think Vegas played until the tank was empty, and all of them. From the last part of Game 4 through Game 5 and into Game 6, like, they were done. They didn't have any energy left, and it seemed like Carolina was getting more and more strong as the series went on. Like, as for Marner, clearly he's a brilliant passer. He's a great creator, and as their pace wore him down, it wore everybody else down around him. So you only become so dangerous. And in the last couple of games, I mean, he didn't have anything. They didn't have anything left, I don't think, to give. That's what it looked like to me.
So in terms of, Carolina flipping that switch, right? It's 2-1 after 3 games, and you mentioned they seem to get stronger. Vegas, I guess, seemed to run out of gas. Was there anything, tangible that you can point to? Was it Bussy going in? Was it Aho and Svechnikov kind of arriving in the series? What did you see that allowed that to happen, the series to flip the way it did?
I think the 13 games that they played to get to the final, the 11 days off before Montreal, I think somewhere along the line it gives you more gas in the tank. Like, there had to be an advantage for the fact that they do not ever overplay anyone. No forward for Carolina plays 23, 24 minutes. They don't do it. They play 3.5 lines all the time. And so the rest, the style of play, the freshness of their players, certainly when Bussy came in, I think almost by accident, they were able to make a goalie change that Vegas probably would have liked to have made. because Hart, to me, as well, looked like he was worn out. Played 25 straight games. And they're all, Corey Schneider was saying yesterday, I was talking to him, he said, you got to remember, they're all high-leverage games. Like, there's no 8-1 games where you can take a snooze. And I just think Carolina was fresher, and as much as maybe people don't want to give them their due, that team's been roughly the same for 4 or 5 years. 8 years with Rod. They add Ehlers, like they make these additions, but it's the same group. It's like consistency. It's a build by design. They're not trying to, hey, let's find this guy to play with that centerman, and they don't do that. You look at their lineup. I mean, what's supposed to be their top line is Aho, Svechnikov, and in the final it was Jordan Martinook. Like, does that sound like a line that everybody else would say, hey, that's the line we want as our top line? But in Carolina, it's one of their best lines.
Ray, you were between the benches, and when I was at the Memorial Cup watching Kitchener, like, even just watching people walk around, from Mike McKenzie to their coach to the players, it was just, I was so impressed. Like, I'm like, these guys are just way better at everything than all these other teams. And I got that sense pretty early. Like, just being around the Carolina Hurricanes and Roddy, what he does for that organization, like, don't you think that if somebody wanted to restart everything, like, you could maybe say, if Roddy was available, like, wouldn't somebody go to him and say, we'll pay you? I think he's worth $10 million a year, like, just for everything that he brings to the table for an organization.
I don't know one coach, maybe Cooper, but I wouldn't say the same, like, because Coop has a outsized influence in Tampa. But I would say there's no coach that is more the face of their team and the way they do things than what Rod does. Like, even the thing, did you guys see that story today about they have a block, and before they leave they gotta press the block, and it's the same weight as the cup?
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
Like, I just think that stuff, like, how could you not buy into that and go, man, this guy cares about everything, and it's evident in what they do. It really is. It's like, here's another thing. They've had the same assistant coaches for 8 years.
Yeah.
Like, nothing changes. And they've had, like Batman said on the ice yesterday, last 8 years, no team, playoff and regular season, has more wins than Carolina. Took them 8 years to win, but that is, like, a pretty amazing stat.
So, Ray, we were talking before, and I was asked this today. If this is a copycat league, what do you take from Carolina?
Oh, man, like, see, first of all, I don't know if you agree with that, Noodles, or not. Like, I think it's a fool's game.
I agree. I 100% agree. I agree, Ray. I don't think you should copy a team if your team's built differently, all of that type of stuff. But I'm just saying, we see it all the time. The league tries to copy, this team played heavy, or this team played this and that. What would Carolina, other than trying to get Rod Brind'Amour out of there, what would you copy from Carolina?
Speed, and the installation of a work ethic that never fades. Like, that second goal last night that I guess Jackson Blake scored.
Yeah.
3 times they lost the puck in a 10-foot circle, and 3 times either Blake or Stankoven got it back. Like, it just never ends. And they're like, those guys are like worker ants. And they, like, it just never, to watch them is so impressive. And I think in their scouting profile and in their profile of players they bring in, if you're not a worker, it doesn't fit. And when they brought in, for example, when they brought in Rantanen, his style of play doesn't quite fit Carolina. And remember how much he struggled when he was there. It was like the pace and the style just didn't suit him. So they flip him to Dallas, and they end up with Stankoven, a couple of firsts, one of them that they turn into Miller, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, they got back. They took a swing, didn't work, and then they went right back to what they know best. So I would think the one thing is identify whatever you want your team to be, if this is the copycat, and make your pursuit of the players fit that. Don't sign somebody. There's players that sign every year, and you go, nah, I don't know if that's going to work. You don't really say that in Carolina. I use these three guys. I said, if you didn't know what their face looked like, and you changed the jerseys of Martinook, Robinson, and Carrier, would you really know the difference?
Yeah.
Because they all scored 12 goals. They all hit 200 times a year. They're fast, and it's like it's a Carolina player. I just think it's really admirable.
Do you think Rod Brind'Amour will be remembered more as a player or as a coach?
Coach. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I look at his numbers, and I look at other guys that have numbers similar to his that are in. But I think his numbers would tell us he's probably a Hall. Which his impact is in the top shelf. Like it really is just remarkable how much he means to that team. And so I think in time, people won't remember him quite the player that he was because he was so good. But man, as a coach, I think they'll remember that he's so intense, right? It kind of cracks you up sometimes. When Ehlers scores in the empty net, it's 3-0. Everybody's going, and he's yelling behind the bench, "One more minute! One more minute! Can we please have a hug here?" It's like, and then when they win, he just explodes in joy with the players. Like they're all in there. That is Rod's team. That is. Mm-hmm. Everything they do goes through him.
I've never seen anyone bear hug the cup on the ice either, like he did last night. I mean, that was.
I thought he was going to dent it. Did you see him without his shirt today?
Oh yeah, probably did dent it with his pecs. Not dropping it. The guy's a beast. With Ray Ferraro, something to chew on. Brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. We've been asking Ray, did they make the right call? Jordan Staal winning the Conn Smythe.
Oh, it's okay. Again, this is probably a Carolina problem. It could have been Stankoven. It could have been Hall. It could have been Freddie Anderson till the last couple of games when Bussy took over. And at the end of it is Staal, who had just he kicked the crap out of Vegas in that series. Mm-hmm. I don't know how good Jordan Staal is, if you individually skilled him up against other players, but he's a monster. He's 70% in the face-off circle. What do you have, 6 goals in 6 games? I'm going to say yes because I think he's as valuable to that team as anybody else.
Ray, when you look at Vegas, you talked about the high-leverage situation that Carter Hart was in. When he gave up 4 goals 3 games in a row, do you think Torts, looking back on it, said, I should have, just for a change of momentum, should have tried something different? Or would you have done what Torts did and just rode with it?
When they won Game 3, I thought that if they were going to make a change, the freebie start was Game 4. Because if you lose it, you're 2-2 anyway. Yeah. But they won, and I know he's thinking if we can get one more, we got a stranglehold on this thing. But until Game 6, the big save was not there for Hart. Yeah. It just and I thought he was fine for the most part. But Noodles, you know better than we do. But didn't he look just a little bit off? He wasn't catching anything as cleanly. He didn't track the puck quite as well, and to me those are marks of a guy wearing down a bit. At
least 1 goal a game he was giving up that he should have had, including last night, but I thought he was excellent last night. It just didn't matter who was in net last night. Like you say, there was an opportunity probably to go. I just don't know. There's something there with Hill. I think that they had lost faith in him because down the stretch they didn't play him at all. He didn't have a great season. They have Akira Schmid there. It'd be interesting to see what they do in the offseason because you and I were texting last night. I thought that Hannafin-Anderson matchup was not very good. Not the best.
They were terrible. And, Ray, that leads me to the question I was going to ask. Vegas is known for being ruthless and making changes and saying, not sure about you anymore. Where do you think the organization, like, they probably looked at some guys and said, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, do you think they make changes and just say, we kind of liked you, but now you don't? Now
and what about Torts? Where does Torts come into line on all that, too?
Well, I'll start with the guys. Like, I think they'll find a way to move him somewhere. They need the cap space. Dorofeev is, restricted free agent. He scored 37 goals. I mean, it's his first time deep in the playoffs. That kid's a player. Like, he's a scorer. They got to find a way to sign him. But they brought in Anderson at a pretty hefty cost. I don't want to pay him $9 million.
Oh, no way.
Well, what do you think he turned down 7, 8?
No kidding. And I think after the playoffs he just had, I think he made a mistake turning down those big numbers.
He'll get 9 for sure in the free agent market. Like, who would you rather have?
I agree.
I think everyone's going to give Radish 9, maybe more. I mean, he had 23 goals for Tampa last year. Like, Anderson, I think he's going to. I know what you're saying, but I think he's going to get 9. I think the free agent.
Jamie, and you can pay him 9, and you might like it for a couple years, but you're going to hate it sooner than later.
I get it, but I'm not defending. I'm just saying I think the marketplace is going to have something with a 9 in it for Rasmus and for Radish and all of those guys that are. It's a thin free agent, Ray. I don't know.
Yeah,
big time.
This would be a really good time to be a free agent.
Yeah,
really good time. And but I don't want to pay. Like, honestly, Radish had it. It was such a career year. Do you really trust that that's the norm?
Yeah.
And don't forget, he had Kucherov laying sweet little dishes on his tape all season too. So I don't want to. I don't know. I'm just a little skeptical on all these guys, but $9 million is pretty hefty for those guys. I wouldn't want to pay it. Anderson had, in my opinion, had a really difficult final series. Really, his time in Vegas was not great. It really wasn't. He had a tough start. He had 7 goals, I think, in 30 games, and it's man, that would be a tough one. That would be a tough one for me to go, yep, this is the right thing. I don't see it, but the changes, absolutely. Like, Smith is going to be gone. Saad will be gone. He didn't play. I do think Hill will go. They'll make a change on D because I think at some point their pace, Carolina's, was too much for that D.
Yep.
As for Torts, I don't know, guys. I mean, like, it felt like they were going to wait and see, and the guy there to keep an eye on is Ryan Craig.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's been there a while, and if it's not now, maybe Ryan Craig starts a name popping up somewhere else too. Like, they sent him to the minors to help him run his own bench and to be ready to be a coach. It kind of feels like it's getting close to his time.
So hang on a sec. Before we go, Ray, what do you think happens with Cassidy now?
Oh, I don't understand this. I mean, I understand it, but I do not understand that he can't be coaching. I mean, they don't want him to coach for them. Why? I don't know. It feels like he's going to be available, but I have no insight to it as to say, oh, this guy told me something, but I don't have any insight to it. It is so odd to me that this situation even exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And there's only really one coaching job available, possibly, and we all know where that is here in Toronto.
Okay, but we haven't talked about it, but the Babcock and Edmonton thing is bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
To even think about, like, how you landed there. Here's something I thought of. So McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman are interviewing the coach. That's like you guys interviewing the boss of TSN for his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
We would expect that type of behavior.
They would call us in.
Experience. We'd have our ducks in a row asking great questions.
We'd say, let's see your underpants.
Could you imagine? Just think. Here's this guy his career is moved. Guy or woman, his career is moving into the upper echelons, and they sit down for a meeting, and you three are asking questions. Like, one question is about Monday, another one's about Thursday, someone's asking about baseball. They're going to be so confused.
Oh, yeah.
The
food when we go on the road, what's the option there? You know, the important
stuff.
When
you get nervous, do you wear white underpants, and can we see them?
All right. Well, do you have your tickets for Canada-Qatar yet, or what, Ray? You're heading back home.
Yeah, we are going on Thursday, and we're just trying to figure out at what time we're going to go. I think I'm a little behind, but I think it's a 3 o'clock local kickoff. So the boys want to head down early, so I think we'll probably meander down there a few hours early to take it all in. It's awesome stuff, man.
It was phenomenal here on Friday. Phenomenal. You can't. It'll be amazing in Vancouver. Amazing.
You know what was really good too was that FIFA said we want the dome stadiums to be closed so there'd be no shadows. Really enjoyed watching the game 90% in the shadows.
Right. The whole field was shadowed on Friday. It was crazy.
You're like, what are they talking about? Just open the field up. Let's play, man.
No kidding.
So great. Great.
Well, congrats on the Cup final run. You guys crushed it as always. Have a good time back home. You're finally heading back to Vancouver, and it's going to be a blast with the national team and the World Cup in town. So enjoy that, and we'll do it again soon.
I will. I'll leave with this. I get back on the plane today. String of texts from Duffy looking for golf times.
Yeah.
And he also got to Dan Murphy. He spent more time today lining up golf than you can possibly imagine.
That sounds
disgusting. He's disgusting.
Say hi
guy.
to Duffy for us, please. Say hi.
We'll do it. He's got his boys' mediums. He's set to go.
He's ready. Yeah. Thanks, Ray.
Great to talk to you guys. We'll talk soon.
See you, buddy. There's Ray Ferraro joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. It's time to Toyota. Check out the Toyota Tacoma, Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland on the Maple Auto Mall. Ernie Clement from Boston next.
This is the moment.
On TSN 1050, FIFA World Cup 2026 coverage continues as Iraq takes on Norway and Messi's Argentina takes on Algeria. It all starts at 6 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, best bets later in the hour. Jays off today. They dropped 2 of 3 against the Yankees. Back in action down at Fenway starting tomorrow night. Ernie Clement coming up in a moment. The golf report is driven by Subaru. With a Subaru, you get more standard features than you'd expect and great lease and finance offers you won't want to miss. Hurry into your local Subaru dealer today. If you're not familiar with this, Team O-Dog won the Lincoln Cup. I know that's a significant report that people are still buzzing about. You can watch the Lincoln Cup on TSN's YouTube channel.
The 5th major.
The 5th major, as many people are calling it. And unfortunately, Team Hayes, alongside Ernie Clement, we couldn't get the job done, but Ernie coming up here in a second. As for Shinnecock in the U.S. Open, it looks like it's just going to be carnage down there.
Dude, like
carnage.
There was a situation, I think it was the last time around. It might not have been 2018, because stinky old Billy Mayfair was out there on the putting green with Tiger Woods. You remember Billy with that weird putting stroke? They had to water the par 3 green in between groups coming through.
Right,
it was so bad.
It was too crazy.
Stinky Billy putted it into the bunker, and he lost his mind.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what Team O-Dog and Team Hayes would play if we played Shinnecock in U.S. Open conditions. Let's go to one of my partner, my teammate. Here he is. You know him as a member of the Toronto Blue Jays. I know him as my partner. There's Ernie Clement. What's up, Ernie?
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
We're doing okay. How do you think Team Hayes would do from the tips at Shinnecock U.S. Open conditions?
Oh, man. We didn't play great, the other day, but I think we'd probably go 5-6 under on 9 holes. Easy.
Thank you. I agree with that optimism. I agree with that. We're mid-season form, man. It was played early in the year. I mean, we're feeling
we
better
got a big problem here. Me and Hayes have been going back and forth between Hayes, Duthie, and myself. Like, if you were going to say to people, like, one of us was like your boy who you considered buddies with after even one encounter, like, who would you say it was?
You're really putting me on the spot here. I've hung out with Duthie after, but I can't shy away from my partner. But I did play golf with Duthie before you guys after that. So, we're gonna have to change that. We got to get out again.
All right, we'll get out. I appreciate the partnership. We don't turn on each other, and I didn't play well. I mean, I did not play well at all. You carried us. We literally played 9 of your tee balls, which is possibly the first time that's ever happened. But it's all good. It's great to see you. We appreciate you doing this. We saw the news today. You're leading the American League in terms of voting for the All-Star Game second base. How do you respond to that? How cool is that news when you heard it, I'm sure, today?
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I appreciate the love from the Blue Jays fans. That's huge. It's great. I think it's a cool honor. We got a lot of baseball left. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, you've been pretty vocal about the team. I think it was last week, maybe the week before. You said, you guys are a good team. You got a chance to be great, possibly as great, if not better than the team last year. Why do you believe that? Because the record would not suggest it, obviously, right now. You guys lost 2 or 3 again over the weekend against the Yankees. Take us into the clubhouse in terms of the optimism you guys still have.
Yeah, I mean, there's the injuries obviously are something it's something that we've dealt with. But I love who we have in our clubhouse. I love our squad. I believe in these guys, and we got Kirky back. He's already made a huge difference since being back. I love where we're at. We're a game or 2 out of the wild card, which is wild in itself. So it's anybody's ball game in the American League.
So, Ernie, you talked about it being a long season. You guys are right there. Is it just a matter of getting healthy and then getting some consistency within your game, or what do you think it's How close do you think it is for you guys to turn the corner?
Yeah, it's close. I mean, we're right there. The Yankees are in first place in our division. We're right there, all weekend long. We had a ton of opportunities to beat them without Vladdy. So I just think as we get healthy, as we start to really figure out and cement our team identity, which I think we're right there about to kind of figure out where we're at. And, then you just worry about winning ball games. And at the end of the day, when all you care about is winning, that's a good recipe for success.
We're chatting with Ernie Clement in Boston ahead of their series against the Sox tomorrow. It doesn't sound like you're overly comfortable talking about yourself. You're getting all those all-star votes, but you're chasing a batting title in the American League. You're putting up big numbers. You springboarded off what you did in the playoffs last year. Why has it been working so well for you? Like, how comfortable do you feel in the box right now? Because you seem to be incredibly dialed in.
Well, I've over the last couple of years, I've figured out, how to be consistent, how to consistently work, how to consistently play for the team and play to win. And you just kind of let everything else take care of itself when all you care about is getting a win that day. And I think, a lot of the guys on our team and most of the guys on our team are on that same page. So to me, it's only a matter of time before the wins start, piling up and, you start winning series and, you just get on a little run. That's all it takes.
Ernie, sometimes the team's best player, and I'm sure you would agree that in the situation of the Blue Jays, that's Vladdy. Like, they offer assistance or support when other guys are struggling. What is the dynamic like when your best player is kind of in a rut and everyone else? Because I remember in hockey, it was like, man, do you even want to approach the best player? Do you say anything? Like, how does the dynamic work when it's the best player kind of going through it?
Yeah, I mean, he's a professional. He's dealt with failures before. This isn't, it's obviously, really tough when your three hitter, your perennial all-star first baseman, your guy who carried you through the playoffs, goes through a tough stretch. It's obviously tough, as a team when, that's a guy you've always, leaned on and who you kind of just expect to be great all the time. But he's going through some stuff and dealing with some failure right now, and he's going to be better because of it. And, whenever he turns that corner and gets locked in, it's, we know how special he can be. And as his teammates, we need to step up and be locked in at a time like this and try to find a way to win games. Obviously he's been injured the last few days, but we got to find a way to win baseball games, and whoever's in the lineup will definitely be doing that.
So, Ernie, day off on the road, do the guys hang out together, or does everybody kind of go their own way because you've seen enough of each other?
A lot of times when we have an off day, it's, the boys are all hanging out, but today's the family trip. So we got all our families, our wives and girlfriends, and a lot of guys have the kids around. So I think it's a lot of zoos, aquariums, and, parks getting some looks today.
Yeah, so the clubs are in Toronto is what you're saying, because there's some pretty good tracks in Boston, man. That country club in Brookline, there's a bunch of them, man. You try to get out, but I guess that's not going to happen, I'm assuming.
Yeah, this is one of the few off days where I don't have the clubs and I'm not playing golf. So
okay.
It's been great. I've been running around Boston with the lady all day, and we've had a good day.
Attaboy. Get you out of here with a question on John Schneider, because he can blow a gasket better than maybe anyone in the league, and he blew one yesterday. What's that like? Like, could you feel that coming, when you're like, this guy is not feeling the strike zone right now, whatever it happens to be?
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to light a fire under the boys. We love it. Obviously, that was a good one. I thought, after that, usually we turn it on and we win after he gets thrown out.
Right.
But we love the guy. I take a bullet for John Schneider. He's the best. And he has our backs constantly. So, whenever he gets all fired up like that, that's for the boys, and we love him.
Have you been getting, chirped at all online about our performance at the Lincoln Cup? I thought we played okay. We weren't great, but we did lose to these stiffs. So, have you been hearing it, or you got other things to worry about?
Yeah, honestly, I think the match is still ongoing. It's 1-1. The match is all square.
Right.
I don't know about all this, skins or whatever. That's, where I grew up. We play till there's a winner. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It was an unfortunate setup and, an unfortunate way for it to end with, kind of just we all walked off like it felt unfinished. And I know O-Dog feels the same way. There's no way he's willing to take that as a win, being the man that he is.
That's as well. Win is a win is a win, Ern, and you know that. And you saw Revo dialed in with that putter and the irons, and we took control of that whole match.
The wizard. He almost.
That's the best. I haven't caught too much flack online, though, so I'm surprised by that.
Good. I'm the one taking all the heat because I sucked effectively. Yeah. So I'm taking the shrapnel for you.
Hey, it's a team game, man. We win as a team, lose as a team. We'll get them next time.
I love it. And we tied as a team, and we'll continue this down the road, undoubtedly. All right, we'll let you get back to the festivities in Boston. We appreciate you finding 10 minutes for us, Ernie. Good luck tomorrow. Keep rolling, and we'll do it again down the road.
All right, boys. Go Jays.
You got it. There's Ernie Clement. Yeah, he's playing great. Ernie's chasing a batting title down, and he's chasing down a spot in the starting lineup for the American League as well at the All-Star game, which is well-deserved.
Dude, he's one of those guys where, like, a lot of times I found when I was playing hockey, I'd come in contact with baseball players, and I found it shocking how big these dudes were. Mm-hmm. Like, I always told people, like, you'd be surprised. Like, you see baseball players, it's like, I don't know. I was on the field a bunch of times with different teams, and I'm like, these guys are monsters. Like, they were giants. And Ernie, you look at him, you're like, how does that guy turn on a baseball and not get – like, he's not that big of a dude. He's like 5'11", probably weighs 180 pounds, Hayes. Like,
yeah. But he can
his hand, dude, this guy, he hardly takes a backswing with a driver and launches at 320 in the air.
Oh, he was flying past you, me, everyone. He was crushing the golf.
He hits a 2 hybrid from 1987, 290 yards.
Yeah.
Like, he just mashes the ball. And you could see just that, like, impact position. He was so fast. And just like you just saw it right there. One of the just a great guy, like a great dude.
Yeah, he's down there with his girlfriend. But you talk about bar play, like the vibes at Copetown were like, dude, just relax out here. Like the amount of women that are like, you played with Ernie Clement. You played with Ernie Clement. He's basically everyone's favorite player right now.
He is.
But yeah, he's playing, man. He is hitting everything. He's defending well, and he's clearly a big part of that clubhouse. Like uber positive. They're still 4 games under 500. Let's go. You got to keep going. You got to be positive, and he's just kind of that kind of guy. Like, that was our interactions.
I loved Schneider. Like, I was watching that game yesterday. He'd had enough. And you could see the temperature raise, and his face was beet red by the end.
Well, the last time he got tossed about 2-3 weeks ago, it was like an epic meltdown. He was losing his mind.
Yeah, this one was a slow build because at first he kind of trotted out, and then the ump, I don't know what was said. I think it was just kind of maybe a backhanded comment as he was walking away. That's when he got tossed. And he even said, you could read his lips going, "Are you effing kidding me?" Like, that's what got me.
Was not happy. And then once you're tossed, then you might as well really get your money's worth.
Oh, that's when he says you're out, that's when you go in for the kill.
But that was a meltdown on the mound as well. You're at 3-3. It was at Hoffman.
Well, Corbin had been grinding. It was Corbin still. Like, he got hit hard early, and to his credit, he had like 50-plus pitches through 2 innings.
Yeah.
And he grinded his way through it, and in the end, it was the bullpen that got him. Like the day before, Varland got hit. We haven't seen that all year. Like Louis Varland got hit on Saturday. We haven't seen that all year. So thanks to Ernie Clement. Again, Jay's off day today, back in action down at Fenway tomorrow. All right, best bets coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
Thursday.
Canada is back
on TSN 1050. Canada takes on Qatar at BC Place, Vancouver in their second match at the FIFA World Cup 2026. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. A lot of draws at the World Cup. A lot of draws. I'm going to go a little bit crazy here with a parlay tonight. Saudi Arabia, Uruguay.
Draws? A parlay of draws.
Parlay of ties between the two matches tonight. Iran taking on New Zealand. Uruguay taking on Saudi Arabia. Give me two draws. Parlay paying plus 1335.
Dude, what kind of junky research did you have to do to find that? To come
honestly,
up with
draws a lot of times are, they're probably the second best odds. Usually there's a favorite, but they happen all the time. Like they're consistent throughout the World Cup. And there's look what we just saw today. Spain ended up tying a country that's got 500,000 people as a population.
Dude, I think a guy dropped a sheet on Spain, too.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. And would have been paying massive minus money. Massive minus money. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays available for every World Cup match on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 19+, physically located in Ontario. All right. Well, there you go. Cup finals over. Larry O'Brien has been handed over. RBC Canadian Open. Thanks to everyone last week. It was awesome. We had a great time up at TPC Toronto, down at the Canada Soccer House.
Yeah, great week last week.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And now we look towards the draft, right? Gavin McKenna, come on down. Who's going to coach the Leafs? Who's going to coach the Edmonton Oilers? How many trades are we going to actually get this year? Is it going to happen or not? We'll see in the U.S. Open as well.
Maybe we'll put it into some kind of OverDrive future segment tomorrow. Who's going to coach the Oilers? Who's going to coach the Leafs? Who are the Leafs drafting? There's all kinds of options.
Yep. Lots going to happen in the next 2 weeks.
I think there's going to be trades. Oh, you were talking about how Vegas will be ruthless. There's now more cap space, and teams have to be proactive here.
Yeah.
Like moving out salaries. The other thing, too, is that Dorofeyev, would somebody offer sheet that guy? That's 2 years in a row, 34 and 37 goals. The kid's 25.
Yep.
I know that Vegas could probably match if they dump some salary, but in the end,
someone should, because Vegas has been doing it to everyone else.
That might be a guy that I would circle on an offer sheet, because I think he's a hell of a player. I think he ran out of gas there, and Carolina squeezed him, but he can play, and he's only 25.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
He's got lots of runway there.
Yep, really good player. That'll be an interesting one. That would be a very interesting move, and to see how Vegas responds. But, Morgan Riley, what's his future look like? We'll see.
Darnell Nurse, another year on that. Like I think there's going to be a lot of movement here. Dylan Larkin.
Yep.
Maybe again. This is the thing. In Winnipeg, are they talking about how Ehlers left and won a cup? I thought about that last night.
No. Well, I've got so much more I wanted to get into on that.
We
about
could
the
talk
Leafs,
tomorrow about
Toronto.
it.
We will. I've got more on that because Condre Miller leaves New York. What were the Rangers thinking? And of course not. There's more on that throughout the week. All right, good stuff. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, up on YouTube Live and streaming shortly up on Crave. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.